Ladies and gentlemen, it is happening. Justin Fields is going to be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears in week three, excuse me. A long time coming for anybody who, has been waiting for pretty much their entire lives for the Bears to have a starting quarterback, a franchise starting quarterback. I know there was the Cutler years, and we were all very excited about that, but this is now an opportunity right now for us to be there from game one with Justin Fields being our guy, not somebody that we traded for, not somebody that we were hoping for, but somebody who is an actual legitimate franchise quarterback who can come in and lead this team to the promised land, a place that we haven't been since 1985. A lot of us not even, old enough to remember. I can remember. But a lot of you guys do not remember what it was like actually having a team that you're like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. This should be fun, and see how that goes. Justin Fields, listen, and I don't want the negativity, Berlissimo. We're not. Matt Nagy calls good plays. And I have this confirmed to me by a former player who played during the Matt Nagy era, who told me, this is sources, who said, Matt Nagy calls good plays. I don't think that we've ever seen the offense to its full potential. I know a lot of you, by the way, first of all, this is about Justin Fields. Why are we getting negative already? Here's my thing. I know a lot of you get pissed when Cordero Patterson was running the football in years past. What are the Falcons doing? Oh, that's right. They've replaced Mike Davis, essentially, with Cordero Patterson. So everybody needs to calm down. We're finally going to see this offense fully operational. And really, when you go back to last week, with everything that was happening, wasn't it refreshing not to see our team constantly having 3 and outs? It was great. And really, this is something that Dan Orlovsky talked about. The way Justin Fields would be graded out in the quarterback room was all positive. The protections were great. He was making the right reads. He was making the right throws. He missed a couple of things here and there. Obviously, Allen Robinson dropping a touchdown pass would have changed the whole complexion and the whole tenor and the excitement of everything that happened on Sunday. You can imagine that if Allen Robinson had made that catch, the storylines would have been much different Monday morning, Sunday evening, of course. Now he's going to get out there. He's taking all the starter reps this week. There's no designed plays. There's no Taysom Hill effect. They are going to construct an offense this week and a game plan that is tailor-made for Justin Fields. Is he going to allow him to go out there and do his thing? Probably. Dial up some stuff and let him go crazy? Let's do it. David Montgomery now becomes a pretty decent start as well. David Montgomery was doing well when there was barely a threat of Andy Dalton running the football. Although that's how Andy Dalton got hurt. He did run the football. So maybe that's a bad way of putting it. But now there's an opportunity to go out there and let Justin Fields go out there and do his thing. Go out there and do some RPOs, make some throws down the field, take some shots deep, fully unleashing Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney. How excited must Allen Robinson be at this very moment? This is going to be the first time that he's played with a really competent quarterback. This is easily the best quarterback that Allen Robinson has ever played with. And now it's an opportunity to go out there and show the world what he's all actually about. And anybody who thinks that, but the Browns defense, I don't care. The NFL has good defenses. That is just what happens. The NFL has good defense. Justin Fields is going to be just fine. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about the pass rush. I'm not concerned about anything. And really, what we need for this team to be successful is Justin Fields to get out there on the gridiron. And I know last week, again, people, I pitched this on Monday night when we were talking about our Monday night show. By the way, if you haven't seen it, after the Monday Night Football game, each week I'll be on NFL Network breaking it down. And I made this point on our Monday Night Football wrap-up show on the NFL Network. Watch it after Monday Night Football. Watch the game. You're fine. You don't have to watch the prepaid programming that's on NFL Network during the Monday Night Football game. When that game's over, you switch over and you come see me. But a lot of people were like, well, Justin Fields really didn't play great against the Bengals. He played fine. He was good. I know he threw an interception. But those kind of plays are the kind of plays that you need to feel. You need to be on the field to learn how to decipher when guys are dropping into coverage. You're not going to learn that on the sideline. Justin needs to be out there in the game, in the heat of the moment, getting after it. And this is exactly what we want. By the way, I don't know if you saw it too. First of all, here's a couple of things about Andy Dalton. I don't want to turn this into a let's bash Andy Dalton type of thing because we don't need to go there. Andy Dalton was hired to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And this was before we drafted Justin Fields. We had to go into the season with a competent starting quarterback. Andy Dalton was brought in to do a job. And he was performing admirably. Even last week in his little revenge game, he was playing well. He was running. He had a lot of juice in those legs. Ultimately, it knocked him out of the game. And now Justin is going to get his opportunity. But the thing is this. He was brought in to be the starting quarterback of this team, and he's played well. He's done fine. He's also, once we drafted Justin Fields, his role shifted to that of a mentor to our young quarterback to bring him along. And that was a role that he fully embraced. He absolutely embraced being there for Justin Fields, answering any question that he needed to. And I'm sorry if I'm going to tell this story, but I work with a guy who was drafted first overall, who was a franchise quarterback. And he joined a team, and the veteran who was on that team wouldn't even talk to him, wouldn't have lunch with him, was a total dick to him. That has not been the case with Andy Dalton, who's done everything he could to make sure that Justin Fields was going to be ready when he had his moment, even on Sunday. And you saw Big Cat retweet this as well. But even on Sunday, Andy Dalton was out there cheering on Justin Fields. He wants what's best for Justin Fields. And selfishly, Andy Dalton wants to play football. And I'm sure Matt Nagy's going to try to find a way to get him back onto the field. I think people are overreacting to that. I think Matt Nagy probably felt a little guilty. It was like, hey, Andy's our starter. But of course, if Justin goes out there and crushes it this week, there's going to be no way that he ever comes off the field for performance. So I'm going to say this. Andy Dalton did everything that he needed to do. And Andy Dalton's a nice guy. Like, I've met him once. He's affable. He's got a funny, dry sense of humor. He's the kind of guy that could be a really good announcer if he ever wants to be. Like, he's somebody who could end up working for the NFL Network, and then we would start doing stuff together, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, I was a dick to you, and, we wanted Justin Fields to start. And he would be like, oh, that's cool. But then he would secretly resent me forever, which is fine. But at the same time, so I really like Andy Dalton. I think he's a great guy. I like my 3-year-old son. I want neither one of these people to be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And I'm happy that it's going to be Justin Fields this week. And I'm not going to be here and get ridiculous and start acting like he's going to throw for 360 and 4 touchdowns or do anything. This is a tough Browns team. This is a team that is expected to challenge the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC title. But last week, when Tyrod Taylor was healthy and available, the Texans were beating the Cleveland Browns. If Tyrod Taylor had been healthy for that entire game, I'm not saying that they were going to win, but it was not the walkover that everybody thought it was going to be. And if you look at the way the Bears played last week, especially on offense, the offensive line played really well. They kept their protections. David Montgomery's going to get a chance to run the football here. They've got a quarterback that's a threat to run every time he gets the ball. It's going to be a lot different. Thank you. By the way, I did beat T-Pain in our league. It is going to be a pretty interesting situation. I think this is going to be an opportunity to finally see this offense fully realized and ready to go. I will say, I know there's a couple of people asking about fantasy and all that stuff. If you're playing in traditional fantasy leagues, 4 points for a passing touchdown, 2 points for a rushing, or 2 points for an interception, negative 2 points for an interception. Any one of those standard type of leagues, Justin Fields should be rostered by now. Go out and pick up Justin Fields if you haven't already. If you're in a league that's 6'2", 6'1", anything like that, 6 points for a passing touchdown, where the running quarterbacks don't have quite the advantage, okay, probably not going to start him. And I know, Michael, it probably would have been better had he, let's go through some of these comments. Show this comment. Would have been better if he had starting reps in July. Perhaps, but who cares? We're here now. You know, we could sit here and gloat or lament what happened over the last couple of months. We might have disagreed with Matt Nagy. A lot of us wanted to see him from week one. Doesn't matter now. He's the starting quarterback. Who cares? Looking over some of these calls. Okay, listen. I will not, though. Yeah. Allen Robinson would not talk about that drop that he had. Normally, Allen Robinson, one of the more gregarious guys, did not want him to be that person. Did not want him to be that person. By the way, I think that they've been preparing for Justin Fields. I think the game plan is different. By the way, Andy Dalton was running the football last week. So you can't say that they don't have an offense designed for a quarterback to move and get out of the pocket. It's not necessarily Andy Dalton's strong suit. And by the way, though, if you think that they haven't been preparing for Justin Fields since day one, you're mistaken. And it's the game plan, though. They have a game plan. They have a game plan. Hello. What's up, Heidi? Good to see you. Rolling through some of these questions. All right, let's do this. Plugged in with Jay. Jay the Plug, make sure you're following him, I think, on YouTube and all these other things. What about Mooney? Again, when you're thinking about Mooney, when you're thinking about Allen Robinson, I think this is going to be a pretty good opportunity for them. I know that we've been waiting for Darnell Mooney to break out a little bit, and he had a tough drop last week. It was an interesting game. Some of those drops seemed uncharacteristic to me. But I think this is an opportunity. Darnell Mooney should be good moving forward. Again, this is a tougher matchup. I would make that move. By the way, I'm talking about this one. Should I make the move? Should I drop Winston for him? Jameis Winston, we said last week that I was a little apprehensive about Jameis Winston. I wasn't ready to just necessarily crown him after one great game. I wanted to see a little bit more, and he didn't play well. Although I will say this, the Carolina Panthers defense is actually pretty good. They get pressure on the quarterback. It's not necessarily that they're going against Zach Wilson and going against Jameis Winston, which is like, oh, we beat Brandon Cutler. I want to fight Kenny Omega now. No. What we need to be looking at is how much pressure they're putting on the quarterback. And that is one of the things the Panthers have done really well. And honestly, I kind of thought this in the preseason, and I wish I would have followed my instinct a little bit more on this. Carolina Panthers defense just gets after quarterbacks. And that is going to make them so good. I think they're actually building a great program down there in Carolina. And by the time that we're through the Tom Brady era, Carolina is probably going to end up being one of the more dominant teams in the NFC South. Probably the dominant team in a couple of years. Is that going to be a Sam Darnold? I don't know. Think we could be a top 15 offense with Fields at quarterback, Borum, and Jenkins on the offensive line. Again, the offensive line was not an issue on Sunday. They graded out very well. They weren't elite, and I don't think that we're going to need them to be elite. But yeah, there's a lot of building blocks on this team. A lot of young players. I know the Bears have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL right now. But they do have a lot of young studs who are going to be fired up, ready to go. As a matter of fact, if you look at the Pro Football Focus grading system, this week the number 3 player, Jalen Johnson. Now the other guys, not so great. Not as great. The other quarterback's number 20. Goddamn, what's his name? Oh my God, why can't I think of his name? I can see his face. I know it was Prince Amukamura's number. What is, not Locke, God, what the hell. Anyways, 20's bad. 33, Jalen Johnson's good. He's been amazing. By the way, also, plus 90, Roquan Smith. They got Luis, that's a good move. That's a good move. Cole Kmet, you know what? Actually, I like Jimmy Graham. I think Jimmy Graham's always open when they get near the end zone. You got Ryan Tannehill in a good matchup. Do you start Justin Fields instead? You know what? I will tell you that Ryan Tannehill had 347 passing yards last week. Derrick Henry destroyed the Colts last season. And there is a very real possibility that Ryan Tannehill's in a very similar situation. Both of his fantasy stat lines last year against the Colts were not great. And they were complete Derrick Henry games. I'm just letting you know. Duke Shelley, thank you. God damn, thank you, Nathan. Love your passion for the Bears. I've been a lifelong Saints fans until the day the Bears drafted Justin Fields. Thank you for coming aboard. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the squad. It's going to be a fun time. Justin Fields is going to be crushing it. Perry, what do you got? More rollouts? You know what? I think that it would be in the Bears' best interest to take advantage of everything that Justin Fields does well. And again, we go back to the fact that Andy Dalton was running the football last week. Andy Dalton's no dummy. He's like, if I'm going to stay, I got to modernize myself. And he went out there and was running the football. Unfortunately, he hurt himself. When he hurt himself, I did notice the only person who was checking on him was Pat O'Donnell, the punter, being like, hey, you're the only way I'll get to play. No, that's not true. He gets to hold on extra points. So it's all good. Would we roster Damian Williams at all? You know what? I mean, Tariq Cohen is Tariq Cohen going to be back at some point? Do we think he's going to be back at some point? I don't know. I hope so. Sorry. Listen, he's a Bears fan now. Don't. That's the way it goes. You're losing out on fans. Looking forward to Allen Robinson and Jimmy Graham. Yeah. Am I weird? Am I weird to say? So safe? An up pick for Allen? Yeah. Allen Robinson is one of the best wide receivers in the game. There's no way that he's going to be dropping balls in the end zone anymore. Allen Robinson had that uncharacteristic drop, and I swear to Great Caesar's ghost himself, Chicago would have burned to the ground had Allen Robinson made that touchdown reception. The crowd would have gone wild. The swell, the momentum would have been palpable in Chicago. And really, I just can't imagine what it's like in Chicago at this moment. What the fans are doing right now. Excited for Justin Fields to be the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. What is this? What is the laughing for? I don't know. But in any event, it's a great day for Chicago. By the way, we have AEW Grand Slam tonight for anybody who is a huge fan of professional wrestling. That's good. Yeah, Darnell Mooney, I think is, you know what? I would actually check right now. I bet a lot of people dropped Darnell Mooney this week. They looked at it and they're like, it's never going to happen. You know, people get impetuous and they're like, Darnell Mooney's never going to happen. Dropping him. Now they're scrambling. I didn't mean to call the commissioner. I didn't mean to do that. But in any event, this has been a great day for the Chicago Bears. Hopefully this is the start of something. You know, yeah, a lot of people probably would have. This comment. I would have won my week. But in any event, great. Listen, I love the jokes on Twitter with everybody being like, hey, Matt Nagy could be sitting there at midfield at SoFi Stadium in February hosting the Lombardi Trophy, being like, hey, by the way, though, if Andy Dalton's healthy, I don't think any of that. Listen, I think that's all out the window. Now that Justin Fields is going to be the starting quarterback this week, I think it's his job moving forward, unless it's an absolute complete disaster, which I can't anticipate that being the case. I think it's his job from here on out. So in any event, go out and celebrate, everybody. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great Wednesday. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you later. See you soon. Check out the Adam Rank podcast. Some great statistical nuggets in that too as well. See you. Bye-bye.